I'll take myself voice live first, just to, make sure that's a thing. And, get everybody ready for other people going voice live soon. That's right, Giselle. Voice live. Gotta give the people what they want. Alright. Hi, Ellie. Okay. Now Hyperfase is also voice live. Panda stepped away for a minute.
Howdy doody, everybody.
Yeah. Happy Tuesday. I know not much else happens on Tuesday, but at least you got us, right? It does feel like that, doesn't it, JB? That's been forever since you weren't there last session. We all missed you, and there won't be a session this week for Friday. There is indeed not one this week, JB. Dave will be on the moon or something. I don't remember.
Yeah, close enough. Kansas might as well be a moon.
Yeah, pretty much. Same thing. Maybe because he sees an open sign, but the doors are locked. Well, I guess break in. Hey, there's Panda.
Yeah. It just makes me think of the Eric Andre show bit where he's at the gates of the White House and he's just, let me in! It's like one of my favorite bits for no reason.
Thanks, Giselle. Thank you very much for the gift subs to folks. We got, is that an I? LN 2019? I don't know. I actually don't know who that is. I know Jake. He'll probably never show up. Obviously, Daleric got us. Hey, he gave me one. Nice. Now I don't have to look at ads on my phone. And Sluna. That's super great.
True, JD. True.
How am I supposed to break into the voice chat? That feels redundant.
Snake, I've been thinking about you because I've been playing Death Stranding, and there is structures in the world that are built by other players, and one of their names is suspiciously close to yours. So every time I see it, I go, oh. I get excited, and then I'm like, oh, man, I guess never mind. It's not the same.
Define. I think he wants to know what the name is.
Oh. Sorry, I made a cookie.
Well, hot dog.
Yeah, that same energy. Same energy.
God, I'm trying to remember it now.
He's calling you on it. He plays Death Stranding too. If you don't know the name, now it's going to seem like you don't play, like you just said it to be trendy.
Yeah, I know. Because one of those things of I saw it and I was like, oh, that's kind of like his name, and then assumed that it wasn't, so it doesn't retain in my memory banks. I don't know. I guess I could ask, do you have a really useful bridge next to the south distribution point of south?
Did you make an incredibly useful bridge?
Yeah.
I don't know why. That's just a really funny
because I pass it a bunch.
We're going face live, by the way.
Wunderbar.
Up, he's booting it up. Yeah, there it is.
Oh god. Yeah. I don't know. I guess look to see if somebody called Alter Panda has really liked your structure, because I am Metal Gear Solid tapping that thing like I'm resisting the execution. I'm mashing how many likes I can get in 10 seconds. Oh, I love you, Coffee. Thank you, Coffee. You understand.
Yeah, I had coffee earlier.
Drink this. Shh. Later.
Look, I went on my lunch. I went pretty much straight to bed. I was just like, I'm taking a nap. And I just like face planted and then tried to get up, and it was just not working. Dave, you got positivity?
I feel you. Woo. Hold on one second. Sorry, I was looking for something real fast. I can't let this slip. My ADHD will mean I've lost it forever if I don't grab what I'm looking for right now. And then I'll say positive things about myself.
Hashtag you won't remember.
Yeah. That's a positive thing right there, is that I have started to use that so that I don't just forget stuff. I have done things to manage my ADHD. But the actual thing I'm going to say about myself is that I am very good at working through adversity. Like right now, I have a crazy allergic reaction on my right arm, and it really hurts, and I'm sick of it. But I've still been doing stuff.
Yeah, he is stuff doing.
That is what I'm going to say. There we go. My microphone buddy today is a Castellax automata used by the Thousand Suns specifically, with a specific designation I don't remember.
Bless you.
Has a cool bolt cannon on it.
My microphone buddy is this yellow silicone cupcake thingamajig. Everyone cover your ears.
Mine is, as always,
make it where you
the
actually see
RGN
Commander.
I can see it, but they can't from the way you cut the edit on the boxes.
There we go.
He just hangs out.
There we go. Yeah, Pandas is visible. I have to move my mic back though, or everything is ruined.
If I wasn't against super gluing stuff, I would definitely glue these little booty armor things on. They're just not. One little plastic pin is not good enough to hold those on if you're handling him.
You want some sticky tack? You can just put a little bit of sticky tack under there and stick it on there. That way it's not permanent.
I should go find my freaking Roy amiibo that I trained to whoop ass. That bastard got
don't have shoes anymore. You have sandal plant. Yeah.
I was like, Snake.
Yeah, down with shoes.
Like,
shoes is just the big capitalist keeping you down.
I know what Snake looks like, so I can imagine him just like throwing his shoes in a bonfire. So just be like, I'm done with you. You guys can't, because you don't know what he looks like.
Yes, my go-to thing is I want to walk on damp concrete wearing nothing but my socks.
Ew. I hate that. I hate that so much.
That's why I hate socks, man. But yeah, I don't like.
Put this over here before I drink all of it before I get hydrated. Shoes are, man, I don't know, man. These days, I would say shoes are underrated. Since like we take them for granted. Back in the day, man, like shoes were super important.
Who approved that?
I approved it.
Okay. I was looking at it and I was like,
I pretty much approve everything as long as it's not like a racial slur or something.
For reference, a average bear. We had to approve the message. If you come in the socks enough, they'll stiffen and be more like shoes.
Yeah.
Wait, what the fuck?
Mass positivity. Can we say nice about each other? Because that's easier.
Yeah.
He's targeting me. So
so everyone
nice things about me.
Thing about you.
Nice.
Right, good night, everyone. Bye.
Patrick just is like out. Well, I will say that you're very creative and what's the word I want to use besides just creative? But my brain is not working on good words right now. You are great at assembling things like in the story wise, but you're also excellent at making those things feel real. You know what I mean? Like characters, things like that you play. They're rounded. They have depth. It's not just creativity. It is also you give life to your creations. If I can put it that way, they feel real. So,
yeah,
which is why we latch
that,
onto
thank
your
you.
weird NPCs so much.
What's their name is the most terrifying question a PC can ask.
You're not wrong.
I was gonna say that Keegan, Patrick, has a certain flair of telling, of BSing a story. If you're just sitting around, like, it's like, freaking Greg over here can't buy groceries because he only has silver dollars, and who accepts silver dollars? And then we voice Greg, and Greg, we just BS a story about Greg trying to buy stuff with silver dollars. I don't know, like just
The fact that I will double down on a bit.
Yeah.
You will triple down on a bit, my friend.
I probably will.
It's the telling the stories that very much a story of Ivan and dying at the Willow Cliff.
The
Ivan,
Vila Cliff.
yeah.
Ivan, yeah.
Is it Ivan?
The Vila Cliff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look,
Ivan.
I'm standing at the rope at the Willow Cliff.
Vila Cliff. The
And he
Vila
falls into
Cliff.
the pool and dies.
Oh, the dumb shit that I recorded on my phone when I was bored at work.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
when
The
we were,
Vila
like,
Cliff.
youthful and lively.
Now we're just old and still lively when the hyperactivity strikes us.
Yeah, now it just hurts.
Yeah, it just hurts tomorrow.
Let's see. JB says, I have a soothing voice. Well, I appreciate that. I disagree, but I appreciate that. Snake says, the bridge was not snakes, apparently.
Ah. It's true. I see them all the time, Snake. So next time I'll look and I'll shoot a message in our Discord stuff.
Okay, that's 2 votes that I have a calm. So maybe I need to change my voice so it's less calming and more frustrating and annoying, so I don't get talked over every monthly game. So,
I could do my original Ketsuku voice. Hey!
Yeah,
Jesus.
that lasted a session.
All of like 30 seconds into one
Ah,
session.
Snake, be nice to Joey. Joey's cool. Snaga, if you're watching this, fuck you. But also, I love you. You're my friend.
Yeah, fuck you.
He's not watching. He's busy. Anyway, God, how long have we been sitting here doing whatever the fuck we've been doing?
I don't know. What time is it?
20 minutes? Okay, I don't have to take this from you, chat. That's not what the thingy is, right? How did I word that? That's important. Did I just say everyone? Because I hate that. I have to change that immediately.
I wish we could link the cooldowns between the two.
Also, thank you, Ellie. But god damn it, what is this?
Hashtag
I don't
golf.
remember where it is. Channel? Is it under channel? God, I can't say this stuff out loud. If I start asking myself questions about where things are, I'm gonna sound like a fucking boomer.
Yeah. Oh.
It's somewhere.
Okay, how did I knock over these fire dragons? I don't know how that keeps happening. There's no cord across these guys, yet somehow every time I like move, they get knocked over.
Okay. I'm gonna have to find that later. I can't freaking remember where it is.
I should just put them somewhere else.
Thank you, Lawless. This is complimentary terrorism. Like legit, I can't find this points thing again. It's in here somewhere. I'm just gonna have to leave it because it's taking too long and we got other stuff to do. We got to come up with I don't know. I gotta like enable channel point games or something for these days as well, so Panda has something to do when we haven't randomly asked him a question that he wasn't listening to.
Yeah. I'm totally not trying to find something that I watched earlier to reference, but
But yeah, for now. For now.
3 later, but 4 now.
For now.
Oh yeah, boomer humor. I hate my wife. Millennial humor. I hate my life. Zoomer humor. Ball.
Not even wrong.
Ball. Picture the balls. Yeah. Like, okay.
Beans.
I don't get them kids. They don't get it either, but it's funny.
Yeah. Look, dude, some Zoomer shit is like, whoosh. But there's some of it I fuck with. Like, you know. But where is...
That's weird in context.
Why are all these
I'm not gonna think about it. Or weird out of context. Let me rephrase it. Yeah, I fuck with them Zoomers.
I fuck with that shit.
Yeah.
They don't understand. I didn't say I fucked that shit. That'd be weird.
No, you fuck with them. Which kind of sounds like you're messing with them, but like... It means two things. It's like, man, that's a bad girl right there. Or that's a bad girl right there. Yeah. Channel point games. Like having
there's some kind of like weird betting or some stuff you can come up. You can do with the points, I think. I don't remember what they are. Snake, are you going to be playing Death Stranding like through the stream? Because that's going to get real out of context. Because I'm already like, what is he talking about? Oh yeah, that's fine. All right, yeah, do it.
My favorite part is when I left the structure and a dang tornado sucked me up and put me in World War One.
Wayne for court.
Now, if you have played Death Stranding, you understand what I'm talking about. If you have not, you have no clue what I'm talking about.
Nope.
Because the game leaves me with so many questions. And it's answered at least one so far. So, it did the thing I asked it to. So it's like, man, there's so many questions I have about this game. Please answer one.
So, aside from Death Stranding stuff, since I watched back our last Making a TTRPG video, and the thing that we were supposed to do this week is go over the classes and their origins in the lore and come up with some of their mechanics. I also said something about how I really needed to work on that in the weeks between the two things. And I did a lot of work on lore stuff just yesterday. Want to guess what % of that work involved the classes? I think that is right.
10.
0. Yes. Because I didn't remember that there were these things. I didn't look at the questions. I was just like, I want to work on stuff. So I did. But that's okay. That's okay. We're here now. Now we can look into it. I've made exactly one note about one class for today's stream, and that's the Invoker. So let's stretch that into a 3-hour stream, shall we?
I mean, if anybody can do it, it's us.
Easily. But anyway. Yeah, also, most of the stuff I did the work on, I was talking to Dave about a little bit earlier. Mostly like heritage, so like the different races on Shard, at least for like the regular people, and then some of the permanent rifts that they can't get rid of that are like really influential over areas of the land. So I came up with 2 of those, which are dope, but we won't go over those in this stream. I'll probably work on them some more and then deal with it in a lore stream or something. But yeah, fun stuff. That's why I posted what I posted the other day in the Shard part of the Discord. So, anyway. Class origins. Dave?
Yes, sir.
Do you have the talking points pulled up?
I can get them pulled up. There we go.
I just want you to get a visual of how far I got in preparing for the stream. It's probably better than you're expecting, but it's not adequate.
It is significantly better than I was expecting, based off of how you said that.
Yeah. It's because it's still pretty. It's very small compared to the ambition I had when I decided, oh, I need to prepare for this.
Yeah.
It was about a paragraph, y'all. Not even really that. It's like a bulleted paragraph. So invokers. Oh, I can't even take credit for some of it because these are just the questions Ellie asked at the end of the last time we did the stream. So our base classes are Invoker, Exorcist, which I hate more and more every time I look at it.
It's okay.
I know it's a placeholder.
Yeah,
but,
they're all just placeholder names.
so Invoker, Exorcist, Soldier, Agent, and Wanderer, which I need to go to the show screen so people can actually see. Invoker, Exorcist, Soldier, Agent, Wanderer. Look at that. They've got their subcategories and stuff too, but those are not as important for now. We shall look at the Invoker. The Invoker, my notes say they are the most heavily associated with the college. Their origins are the common people not protected by the champions. I found some old notes that labeled the champions as Avier. And it sounds like something out of Tolkien, so I don't know if it is or not. Full disclosure, despite being an aspiring fantasy author, I was like not super into Lord of the Rings. Oh, what's that? I'm fired? Okay. See you guys.
Blasphemy! I was super into Lord of the Rings when I was like 12, especially because that's when the movies were coming out, right? And I tried to read each book before the movie came out, and I was successful in that. But then I was also like, okay, first off, people are gonna hate me. The movies are better.
They are,
because the books are so much stuff, and they're really cool, and it's a really developed, really interesting world. But my God, it's so much stuff. And then after that, I was like, as an adult. Or not even as an adult, as like a teenager, and then a preliminary adult, I was like, movies, they're great, but I don't need to dig super duper crazy deep.
The movies are also a groundbreaking triumph of fantasy media, right? So it's not like that's the most controversial thing, you know?
They're so good.
Like, it's not like you said Dragon Ball Evolution is the best incarnation of Dragon Ball. Like,
I would have to fire myself.
There would be death threats from in this house.
From the two people on this call with me.
You know,
Harley would send me a death threat. The dog would learn to write.
I saw that movie on the YouTube free movies, Dragon Ball Evolution, and I hovered over it, like straight up thinking, like, you know, maybe I should watch it just so I know. You know, so I know how that is. And I thought, I can't get that time back, though.
Yeah.
Like, I watched the M. Night Shyamalan, The Last Airbender, and I watched all of it. I was like, man, that got made. And
I mean, and this is saying
that's a movie.
Both Panda and I are fans of terrible movies. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
We like bad movies. Like, I have intentionally watched Birdemic more than once.
So bad it's good is very different than just bad.
Yeah. But,
like, ugh.
Oh, Ellie has a good question, sorry. Would classes be comparable to normal jobs? Invokers complaining around the water cooler, and agents' parents keep trying to talk them into exorcist career path. Yeah. Because it pays better. Don't know why Exorcist and career were getting me tongue-tied, but
who knows why you say
not
things.
Particularly. Like,
I don't know.
So you could almost think of it like, I mean, I guess again D&D comparison, where some class descriptions are also jobs or career paths. Like a bard is a thing outside of the class in D&D. You can be both the class and actually just a bard running around, right? But introducing yourself as a fighter, okay, cool. What the fuck do you mean? Are you a soldier? Are you a mercenary? Like, what is that, right? Or you wouldn't introduce yourself as a barbarian because people are like, oh, good. So you're going to pillage the town? Like, what are you talking about?
And
So-
on Thursday,
Go ahead.
Thursday game, example of that, I play a Unchained Ninja in that. And I do refer to things as like, oh, I'm going to ninja down this alley. And I'm going to go as myself as a ninja. But
As a
when
ninja.
you're
I'm
coming
gonna
up,
go as a ninja. That was still one of my favorite statements of all time.
well, it was like, some people are going to go disguised. And what are you going to do? I'm going to go as a ninja. And it's like, because that's what I am.
Mhm.
But we were filling out fake papers to be in this country. And it's like, oh, reason for being in it, like, what's your job? Or like, what's your career or whatever. And I was like, well, that's a good question. I shouldn't put like ninja because that implies like I'm an assassin and stuff like that, So I am a scout, a military scout, or light runner or something like that. Very much the acrobat class from older Elder Scrolls games. Older being Morrowind and Oblivion.
Right?
Yeah. It's like, oh yes, acrobat. I'm like, what? Why is that a class? Well, because it's literally what it is. It's the guy's job.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
What it do?
but I guess to answer the question, some of them obviously, like soldier, are synonymous with things that actually exist just as general terms for different jobs and such. But every time you run into someone who's like in the military and introduces themselves as a soldier, it doesn't mean they are the soldier class, right? So like in world, an invoker would be a term, but it just specifically describes someone who has that skill. Likely meaning that you are college trained or someone taught you how to do that, because invoking is at its core in world is just the ability to draw the primal forces out of humors using backwards syllabic permutations of the supernal language. That was difficult to say.
Yeah, it's a tongue twister.
That's what invoking is. So describing yourself as an invoker doesn't necessarily tell people what you do as a career, but they would know that it means something. They would know, oh, you can do this thing. Not all doctors are surgeons, correct? I guess some of them are dentists, technically. So, does that mean that not all doctors are doctors?
I mean, a dentist
Oh,
still
they
has
call
to
the
get a
dentists
doctorate, which
mad.
makes them a doctor.
Yep. I was throwing shade at dentists, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but I was about to
Playfully,
say the
right?
definition
Yeah,
of
but
a
these
doctor
fucking grow.
is just someone who has a doctorate. So people with
That's also
PhDs
true.
are also doctors, and they don't
versus a
practice
medical
medicine
doctor
at all.
being a
Yeah,
specific
they don't
kind,
practice
yeah.
medicine at all. So
Anyway, I think we've over answered that question now. So yeah, like invoker is a certain skill set. I guess I'm trying to think. I was trying to think about parallels. I think while I was rattling on about it. What's a thing you can do? What's like a skill a person can have, but it's not necessarily a job, right?
I mean, there's lots, but
skill
I can't think of
someone
anything else
could
on my head
have.
because you have
My
pressed
brain
me
was
now.
like,
Not
my brain
necessarily-
was like a person who can do impressions. So if you introduce yourself as an impressionist, people are going to think you're a painter.
Yeah, people will think
That's
you're a painter,
different.
for sure.
Very different things.
I mean, there's many things that you could do as a hobby.
Yeah.
It's not a job.
Lawless beatboxing. So yeah, you wouldn't call yourself a beatboxer, right? I mean, you might, but people would be like, so like you do that for money, or that's how you make your living, or is that just a thing you can do, right?
Yeah.
They would
Back in
expect
the
you to say
day-
that you're a entertainer or a musician or something that like encompasses a career. But sorry, go ahead, Panda. What were you saying?
When I worked at a dealership, I was a box beater, where when I would get mad, I would go at the cardboard boxes that we had stacked up because of anger issues. But no, Yeah, sorry
been
about all
there.
that, but yeah, but no, like there's many things like saying, "Oh, I'm a woodworker" or whatever. You know, like
Well, yeah, like
things.
that.
Yeah, things could
My
be a
dad
hobby
was
and not
a
necessarily do
doctor
money.
by profession, but was a carpenter. If you asked him what he was, he would
But
have
that
told you he
opens
was a
the-
carpenter.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
that opens the interesting question of like, "Oh yeah, I'm a plumber." Oh, you do it? Oh, that's your job? Nah, I do it as a hobby.
Oh,
if you're a plumber and you do it as a hobby, can you come to our house? We'll give you your
Yeah.
address.
right?
We
I'm
really
a
need some
plumber.
drain.
You will have our
stuff fixed
sincere thank.
Yeah.
and
Which I guess in
gratitude.
theory you could be doing like. There's other bits of that, like you could say, "Oh, I set up sprinkler systems in like greenhouses for fun or something like that." You know, like I enjoy putting pipes and stuff together, like the whole complicated sprinkler system stuff.
My grandfather was a pipe fitter. I have his union jacket somewhere.
Or okay, here'd be an example. If someone's like, "Hey, so what do you do for a living?" You go, "Oh, I speak 12 languages."
Yeah.
That's awesome. How does that make you money?
Are you a translator?
Or
Are you
translate
an
things, or you an interpreter? Like, yeah, right, exactly. It's like speaking 12 languages is not a job.
I mean, I'm
skill.
saying right now, you can probably make money doing that, especially
100%.
if you're good at. Yeah.
But that's just a skill, not a career. That's a
all-
skill that you get careers with.
Think of all the fun fan translations you can do for manga and web novels. You know, like hey guys, you don't need to hire an Italian translator. I can also do that. You also want it in Urdu. Urdu, is that a
Urdu. Yeah, that's
yeah. What is that the language of? Why do I know that? Why is
I
that a
don't
language?
know, and I'm not going to look it up because we are already on the fucking moon.
Yeah. Sorry.
Like,
This train's going to space.
yeah.
That sounds like an anime I'd watch.
Urdu is Afghanistan, Bahrain, Bangladesh,
That's why I
Botswana,
know
Fiji,
it,
Germany, Guyana, Malwani, Mauritius, Nepal, Norway, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Thailand, United Arab Emirates, UK, and Zambia are
Indian Muslim.
countries that Urdu is spoken in.
I think
But
you
yeah,
lost me.
Afghanistan,
Guess we're staying on the moon.
Yeah,
It's because
and,
I watched
like Oman are the ones we
RRR
probably
on
think of
Netflix. It's 3 hours, but you should watch it.
yeah, RRR is good. I recommend.
Don't have 3 hours to watch anything.
You can break it up. You can break it up into different
So yeah,
segments. Yeah.
Pakistan and India, of course, are.
That's the worst part. Is I hate watching movies like that
You know,
in
I should.
parts. I don't. I can watch like others. I don't like watching movies in parts. I like to.
I say
But I never do it. So
someone
It'd
should
be
write.
funny if they presented it as 3 1-hour-long episodes.
Yeah,
I think it would be easier for
Easier.
people to watch it because
That's what I
if
was
it was
getting at
broken up
is
like that. You're just like, oh yeah,
you need to write Netflix and be like, hey, y'all should
it
format.
gives you
Try to
stopping
format this in a
points.
way where it's a mini series, like a 3-episode mini series, or however many
Yeah.
cut. And that would let a lot more people like, oh, I can't sit down for 3 hours and watch it. Not everybody wants to watch the Lord of the Rings extended edition over the weekend. You know?
Right.
Do it.
Okay,
I mean, you
I'm
can't.
going to
Yes.
aggressively bring
It's
us
also
back in.
6 hours, by the way.
So, the rest of my notes on Invokers is specifically that. So yeah, the origins are from the common people who were not protected by the Aviar, and they found a way to protect themselves using invoking, which I already described, is the breaking apart of the supernal language and speaking its syllables backwards. This converts humors back to their primal forces. The class of the Invoker specializes in using this both for utility and combat. That's pretty much all I got written down. That is all of my notes. So, now granted, Dave and I knew that was it going in, just didn't like jot it down. You know, these are our archetypical wizard, arcanist types. But yeah, in the lore, they come from the line of people that learned how to invoke and use Primal Force's version of magic. The reason, as a quick refresher, the reason that this pissed off the church is because the deities are no longer on Shard. They no longer create the Avier or the champions or anything else that used to be able to close the rifts. And they didn't necessarily explain why. They're just like, fuck it, out. Now they left in the meta, right? Because people were going to war. Because they were there. Because some of these people were like, alright, sweet, we're going to learn to protect ourselves. And then the church was like, y'all, if you invalidate the need for the gods, they're going to leave. We need them here to close the rift, so stop doing that. And they're like, no, we're dying. The big wolf monster ate 2 villages worth of people yesterday. But now we can throw lightning at it. Anyway, all of that being said, there was a rift between kind of the 2 factions of early peoples. The gods were like, peace! And so no more champions showed up, and the church was like, God damn it, we said this was going to happen. And the invokers were like, well, I bet you'll listen to us now, because you need to be able to throw lightning too. And they were like, nah, we're going to kill all of you, so they come back. It was just errors on all over the place. Everybody was picked. Anyway, the people throwing lightning and pissing off the church became the college, which is primarily where the invokers come from. Anyway, with that being said, what are the mechanical things we can do with what we've got so far for the invoker class?
Well, so like obviously the act of invoking is mechanically something we're gonna do, right? Yeah. It does what it says. It does what it says on the tin. Right. Yeah. It does what it says on the tin. So that's obviously one thing. I think they're going to be also some of the people who use some of our like knowledge-esque skill things that we came up with, right? A lot of our potentially our mind-based checks, because I'm imagining invokers are going to be a fairly heavy mind stat since the college and all of that. So they're going to mechanically use a lot of those checks. So we kind of got to come up with if they have any kind of mechanical bonuses to specific things like that, or what benefits being an invoker gives you for also choosing to spec into those kinds of classes heavily.
Makes sense. Which I know the question was more to tie things to lore, so we won't get super heavily into the mechanics. But yeah, I agree on all accounts. Ellie says, I assume that's supposed to be no son of mine is going to marry. You said evoker, it's invoker. In-law insurance, get revenge from the grave. Wow. Also, less control of magic, but might make a bigger boom. Actually, the inverse. Invokers actually have quite a bit of control. It is a dangerous practice, because it's not necessarily how it's used in its original form, the supernal language and all that. But really, mortals aren't supposed to mess with the supernal language at all. All of it is atypical. We actually, conceptually, like, the divine magic, or the supernal forces version is supposed to be the bigger, more macro version of things that the divine folks will get. Whereas the invokers can scale it much further down. They have actually quite a bit more variety and control over what the magic can do. It's not going to generally be as huge as an actual supernal force, which we haven't got to, but that's going to be in the realm mostly of the exorcists. Which, yeah, we thought it was cool just because it's kind of, I don't know, different-ish from the way we usually have magic presented, especially in like D&D and whatnot. Usually the big boom is your arcane.
From your arcane casters, exactly.
And I believe we agreed on there not being magical healing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That messes up a lot of narrative. As nice as it is in a lot of games, like, it fucks with narrative heavy. Where it's like, oh, cool, like, one cleric one like first level cleric in a town of people is like a fucking huge asset to be able to just go, oh, this person's been hit with an axe and is on their deathbed, they're better. Right?
Yeah, and especially
even like 3 times a day, that's still crazy.
Yeah, one of the things we wanted to do with this is we wanted the game to feel a little bit more fraught with danger, I guess. A little more close to, potential doom at every corner, and magical healing kind of takes that edge off of it.
Yeah. Ellie said, so cleric equals raw, college equals refined with less oomph. That's a pretty good way to put it. Essentially, yeah, the clergy would be emulating what the gods do versus the college kind of breaking the rules to make it easier. Not easier to achieve the same thing, but to achieve a more manageable level of thing. But yeah, that's the Invoker's place in the lore. Modern day, if someone brings up, if someone was to introduce themselves as an Invoker for some reason or talk about that, people would naturally assume they are college trained or otherwise associated with them who have learned that. Because we don't want to limit players super heavily, like, you can have an Invoker who is primarily working for the church or the council, that sort of thing. But typically speaking, there's going to have been some kind of interplay there. Maybe they grew up in the what is it called? Hold on, I'll pull up my thing. Whatever that prefecture is, the chaplain prefecture, where the church is in control of everything or whatever, and they showed some level of brilliance. The church worked out some kind of deal to get this person educated in one of the colleges to come and then work as an exorcist for the church. That can happen.
Yeah, and in theory, you could also have like self-taught people, but
you could absolutely, yeah.
Because it's one of those things that it's up to the player's backstory imagination a lot of times in these things. Because, like Patrick said, we don't want to limit what our players kind of come up with.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking general expectations. What Dave said is 100% correct. You could absolutely be like, well, okay, I want my character to have, like, I don't know, found a bunch of books or whatever, or, like, maybe they got taught by an ex-professor or some shit. Like,
yeah.
So that they're not actually associated with the college, but they
know
stuff.
Rogue person from the college, like somebody who broke from the college and went to do their own thing, could have taught this kid. That totally makes sense. But yeah, that's still having some kind of link to the college, because it just makes sense. Because that's where the people who work on this are from. Even if they were self-taught, all those books they got to teach themselves probably came from the college. So even in these like split off backstories where they're not directly related to the college, they're still somehow tied to it, generally speaking.
Ellie says even heaven needs lawyers type of thing. Yeah. Let's see. But yeah, modern day invokers they're still pretty heavily involved there. That's where most of the education on invoking comes from. And especially if you're going to get particularly proficient at it. And also, it's more difficult to get the kind of resources you might want to do things like research and study more of the things that you would need as an invoker outside of the college. Each of these entities, even though they're not a monopoly all of themselves, like they are pretty, what's the word? They definitely are trying to keep as much of what they specialize in to themselves as possible. But anyway, so that's Invokers. If you have other questions, obviously throw them in the chat and we'll bounce back to that, but we'll keep moving along for now. We know Exorcists, of course, are more associated with the church.
Yep.
Which I think we should just fucking change to what we originally had and just have it be clergy and then exorcist is the subtype.
Sure.
Because I think we called it exorcist in one of the previous iterations whenever it was more focused on like banishing undead and ghosts and spirits and whatnot.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do that here because it bugs me. I know I keep saying I have to let it go, but I can't. That annoys me. Okay, so the class is clergy. Also, I apparently can't spell exorcist. I just can't type. What is that? Stop. Alright, clergy. So yeah, we know that their association is with the church. I'm typing on a different sheet, just so you know why you're not seeing anything, chat. We'll kind of follow the archetype here of what I said about the invokers. In fact, you know what? Let me just save this. We're going to open a new... Let's make a new handout for these.
Sick.
Classes.
Give me a second. I'm gonna run. I gotta grab something out of the kitchen real fast. So I'll be right back.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Oh. Switched everyone for some reason. There we go. Okay. New handout. Let's scroll down. Save it and then reopen it. Alright, so from here I can just paste what I already have in the notes. That way you guys can actually see it. Bingo. Oh, right. Let's do that. Is that not gonna... Alright, hold on, let me go back. Thanks. Alright, try this instead. Thanks. Okay, there we go. I think you guys can see that, kind of. Let me slide that over a little bit. There we go. Now it's not cut off. Privacy associated with the church, the origins of the... Put exorcism, I just changed to clergy.
I mean, that's easy mistake to make.
Alright. Origins of the clergy. Dave.
Yes.
What are the origins of the
Dave.
clergy?
Well, I mean, like, they're probably going to be people who are, I almost say indoctrinated, but I don't mean indoctrinated, but are brought up in and around the church and the, like, church culture for the most part, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to be those people who are heavily invested in the faith and who are you're probably going to have a lot of, like, common folk who grew up in church-heavy, like, society.
Yes. That would, of course, be modern day. Their origins come from the people who were being protected by the Avir. Basically opposite of the original origins of the Invokers. under protection of the Iberian champions.
So the classes, Ellie, are more kind of there are three associated more heavily with the organizations, and then the other two are kind of, or the other one, did I say two? The other like three are also, but less.
Hello,
they're more all over the place kind of thing. In that we wanted three to be heavily associated with each one, and then the other three are more the combo-esque style of things.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, let's see. Temperament. And the last two be a weaker combo of two temperaments. Or are they in the body of all the temperaments, or none of them? I'm a bit lost on the term of temperament.
I think she means with the humors.
Oh.
Since that's the thing we have 4 of. Although there's certainly 5.
There's 5 because we have a 5th, yeah. Okay. Then yes, I agree with what you said. I was just like, wait, what are we talking about here? Because, there's 3 organizations that kind of heavily represent, or that some of the classes heavily represent, and then 2 that are kind of their own as well. So,
the magic numbers for this game, Ellie, by the way, are 3 and 5. Most of our things come in multiples of 3s or multiples of 5.
Okay, so more about who backs or educated you, like Team Valor. Basically, yeah. It's who invested in you, right? Or who did you throw your lot in with? We're doing good, Chrono. We're just doing our making a TTRPG stream. That's all. Let's see. So it's a good night. Something to do on a Tuesday.
Yep.
You were close, Ellie. I mean, this is all new stuff for us too. It's good to have to explain it.
Explaining or walking through our thought process helps to clarify our thought process.
Indeed. So origins are common people under the protection by the Avir/champions, and who sought to uphold the, we'll say, sanctity of their gifts. I always feel like I have to do a little bit of niceness when it comes to talking about the church as a group in this world. Because, for one, I'm an agnostic. I'm agnostic as fuck. And have been for getting close to 10 years now. And sometimes, in my spare time, I will talk a little bit of shit about religion. Mostly good-natured. But for one, the church in Shard is very... There's going to be parallels, just because familiarity can be a very good thing, but it's very different than churches here on Earth. Because the gods are very different than the ones that people worship here in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
They're not like the Greek pantheon. They aren't like people that are just trying to get stuff and are selfish and or whatever. Or even like the Judeo-Christian God, who is, all loving and all knowing and benevolent and did all these things for people. Or Allah, or any of these others that are... that we can kind of associate actions to in a lot of ways. Excuse me. They are cosmic forces that have certain powers and concepts tied to them, but they aren't people that come down here walking around and helping the meek, and it's what they did is to serve the interest of not being forgotten, so they have to make themselves useful, but they aren't necessarily people. I mean, they certainly aren't people. Anyway, with all that being said, churches are very different, and so even while I know I wrote this sentence, and I still feel like it could be looked at in a certain way to be like, oh yeah, these weird fucking traditionalists are upholding the sanctity of the gifts of the champions. God, like, they ruined everything. They had a very good reason to do this. Because the only thing so far that has been known to be able to close rifts are the Avir. There are minor and major rifts, of course. The major rifts are ones that are permanent and have wide-ranging, a large scope of effect that do not close over time on their own. Minor rifts cause some shit, maybe for a short time, maybe for a while, but they will eventually close, especially if you can take out enough of whatever effect they're having on the world. And I will definitely get to these questions here in just a second. But yeah, only the Avir / champions were able to actually close these things. So the people who were being protected by them, getting news of the essentially miracles that they were performing by both turning back hordes of monstrous beings, as well as cutting the source off of those threats to people, and then moving on to the next place, had a very good reason to be like, look, we need to keep these people around, and if that means not tampering with their powers and where they get their abilities from, so that we're not encroaching on the territory of the gods, so be it. Like, long term, they may actually close all the rifts, and then we don't have to deal with this stuff anymore. But again, on the other side of this, many other people dying and watching their loved ones die are like, no, we have to be able to fight back. So it's supposed to be very understandable on both sides. But yeah, anyway, enough of that lip service. Dave, were you going to say something before I get to the questions in chat?
Maybe, but I lost what it was if I did.
Sorry.
I was listening. No, I was listening to you, so my brain emptied other than what you were saying.
Let's see. Are prime numbers in general special as well, like 27 exorcists to alter the weather patterns? I didn't think that deep into it, but maybe. Might not be a bad thing. Could be interesting.
The reason
if I remember it later... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say, the reason I had said earlier about the magic numbers being 3 and 5 is because when we were designing things in this game, we just made multiples of everything in 3s and 5s for the most part. Like, mechanically speaking, because it was easier. And because it made it to where things could be easier to remember and comprehend as a player and as a narrator. So that's one of the reasons we kind of just went with all of these specific styles of numbers. Not necessarily that they're sacred in game; they're the magic numbers for us as devs. But that's a good thing to look into.
Yeah, and also I believe I said, or at least I've got it in notes and whatnot in Realm culture. Excuse me, in Reach culture. 4 is often considered an unlucky number.
Yeah, we've talked about this before because the bad deities there's 4 of them.
Mm-hmm. They each have a spelling of their name of what it actually is, which is 4 letters, and then like how it's always written is with like 5, I think, because they don't want to write the 4. It's kind of a superstition thing, but
it's very much like how they would build fake 13 floors into hotels because 13 was an unlucky number. So they would literally there would be floor 12, and there would be a space like about 2 feet high that was the 13th floor of the building, and then they would build floor 14. They would just make this alternate little space, so all of the bad luck could be housed in this tiny little 2 foot high false floor.
Like movies and books and stuff love to play with that, but it makes sense. Let's see. Ellie says you're in good company about the agnostic.
Patrick, scissors are not a good fidget toy.
I can't stop, dude. I lost my other one. I don't know where it went. I was fidgeting with this, I think, during the lore stream, too. I can use my back scratcher, but it's too big. Use this dog toy that's on my desk for some reason. Scissors. So, I'll stop. Ooh, I could use the cover to my mic. Let's see. But yeah, as far as good company, most of the people I know, most of them are not religious, but not all of them. I have some good friends who still are. And even though I make jokes and whatnot sometime, I think I speak for all of us when I say we're not trying to alienate anyone or make people feel bad about their beliefs or anything.
Nope.
That's obviously not the agenda. That'd be fucked up.
Yeah.
Admittedly, I always feel the need to maybe give a little bit more look, hey, I'm not trying to make the church look bad because I know my own standpoint and I don't know how much that comes across. And Yeah. So I'm just like, look, I'm not trying to talk shit about religion with this game. I'm talking shit about everyone. Like, they're all kind of evil, but also have good intentions and yada yada. Anyway. And then see, these are tangible eldritch beings that will hopefully not kill us all. In reference to the gods, yeah, kinda. I mean, they don't want to kill everyone because they need people. They absolutely need people because
our worship sustains them.
Exactly. Not even just worship, our acknowledgement of them. People have to believe in them and know that they exist. You don't have to necessarily pay them reverence, but if everyone forgets about them, or stops caring about them, or stops believing that they are powerful beings from the beyond, they will eventually pass into the unknown and disappear forever. So, they don't want that. They don't want to die. Simple as that. Let's see. Lawless says, is it a single belief system, or is it several religions that are worshipped in an agora? I'll be honest with you, I haven't really plunged into how to get the religion across. I think I had some notes somewhere about like kind of the ways that the different types of religion are kind of categorized. There's one where it's like I don't know, I'll have to go look at it again. But it's probably going to be several different beliefs, or a few different belief systems. Let's see. The search of knowledge in this kind of faith is a good thing to explore with the players. Absolutely. It is complicated indeed. But also consider, Chrono, that you are here while we're still making this. So it's not neat. It's almost kind of like, when COVID first happened and you're sort of watching science as it happens, it's not all neat and tidy with all the facts laid out. So for a lot of people, that was really scary to be like, oh man, like it changes every week or whatever, right? But dude, that's how it works. It was just enough of an emergency situation that like they had to get the info out now. It couldn't wait until they had everything tied up in a bow.
We are very much in the discovery phase.
If you're a COVID denier, I got nothing for you. So, which I'm not accusing anyone of that. Just saying, like, that's the example I'm going to use. But yeah, in this case, we're not scientists. We're a few idiots trying to make a game where you roll a whole bunch of dice and hopefully blow up enemies.
Yeah.
Oh, you're in Brazil, Chrono. Oh boy. I bet it's complicated.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's in Shard, which is the world. It's probably gonna be a few different belief systems. I'll probably go over that in another lore stream or something because it's not important. It's not super important to the mechanics, at least not right now. And I think I'd addressed all the chat questions.
Yep.
We're making our usual rate of progress here. Cool. So now that I have apologized enough for possibly painting the clergy in a bad light, the last little rung on this, on the Invoker, we talked about what the practice was. The difference between primal forces, which is what Invokers use, and supernal forces is like we kind of described a little bit earlier, where, invoking the primal forces is just taking the humor, converting it to its energy form, because all of them are related to some kind of energy, which is its primal force. Choleric humor being fire. That's the one I usually remember. I don't know why, but like blood, sanguine being air. It's just going, okay, I have blood, I want to turn this into air, or I want to turn this into lightning, right? That's the invoking part. Whereas using supernal forces, I don't think we have like a specific name for that, which I guess we should come up with one, since invoking has a name.
I was thinking of that too. other than like doing some version of like speaking, since they're speaking, the supernal words. So we could do something with speaking.
Yeah, we should. It's
I'm gonna look up some speaking
if we just
words.
call it speaking, that's crappy. So,
Yeah, no, I want it to be something similar, but not that. So I'm gonna look up
Druidism. I don't know if it really would fit because it's not druidic. It's so the practice itself. We have a new person here, so
I'll that
give a quick
just reminded me
overview.
of a Spaceballs bit though. Funny, she doesn't look Druish.
Oh God.
Spaceballs.
When we talk about the supernal language is what the gods use to essentially alter material and reality. Is how they create, destroy, or manipulate. It is a very quintessential force. They do it by speaking things into existence, which commands on a cosmic level. In ancient times, people of Shard basically found their version of kind of the Rosetta Stone, but for the supernal language. And just trying to pronounce the words on it raw would cause bad things to happen to people. Think like straight like biblical level catastrophic stuff, like people becoming pillars of salt or fucking just bleeding from everywhere or just bursting into flames, like that kind of shit, because they just we were not meant to be able to do that. We can't harness that kind of power. Not just out of nowhere. The clergy's magic comes from essentially binding themselves to a word, a supernal word. And over the course of their like evolution, so to speak, they meditate over this. They like internalize parts of it to the point where they can actually begin to say it. And most of this we break down into syllables. We did not make a language. We did not actually invent a language. We don't have the capability to do that.
Yeah.
But they eventually can get through parts of this word and actually call forth the power of it, which is really, really strong.
So, not to interrupt, but I have some suggestions, by the way, based off of looking up synonyms of speaking. So we can have like vocalizing, uttering, because uttering sounds interesting. And then I had another one. Where'd it go?
Excuse me.
Something with rhetoric, but that wasn't it. Rhetoric
Chaos
is cool.
Magic is a manipulation of chaos by itself. You know what? I haven't got to show that in a minute. I'll show you the...
Declaring was the other one I had.
Ooh. Declaration is a cool one. Can you throw those in the Twitch chat?
Sure.
That'd be dope. Let me see. Is this the image? Yeah, there's our cosmology. So, speaking of Chrono saying, talking about chaos, chaos is actually a thing. Now, I know that image is probably too small to like really read. Let me see if I can tell on my phone at all.
Let's see if I can get another one in here.
Kinda. It's okay, so you can see that at the very center there is creation. That is, think material plane. That's where all the physical things are. It is where the primal forces turn into humors, which can create living beings. Just outside of it, that little that red ring is the first ring of chaos, also called the dream ring, which encompasses like imagination, dreams, nightmares, prophecy, that kind of thing comes from that ring, which we call rings of chaos. The unknown is void. It is where things that never have and cannot exist are. And then the ring outside of that is the second ring of chaos, also called the Eldritch ring, which are things beyond concept, beyond like the ability for especially a mortal mind to even conceptualize. So it's, you can't even dream of it. It's that far gone because it borders unknown and beyond. And the beyond itself is, you can kind of think as your like outer heavens in a way, not necessarily like some idealized paradise, but that's the realm of the gods and of souls. So just, and then like outside of that is the theoretical outer chaos, which could be even, it could be anything. It could even be
a boat.
Thank you, Dave.
I thought you were going to say it, so that's why I didn't say it. Even be a boat.
Okay, so declaring, uttering, rhetoric, vocalizing, enunciating, voicing.
And obviously we could, these are just the base word I was thinking of for these. We could tweak the ending of it, right?
Yeah.
Because to declare, instead of calling it declaring, or to utter would be what you would do, right? Or rhetoric is the hard one because it'd be rhetorical, because rhetoric is a weird, has a weird way to change its tense. But yeah, to enunciate, to vocalize, whatever, to voice. To elocute is eloquence's change in tense.
I don't like that.
Elocution. But
so an invoker practices invocation. They invoke power. What else has that many tenses? A declarer.
Yeah.
Practices declaration. Because they declare things. Declarer is just such a not cool word.
I know, right?
Objection. No, it's just.
But I guess they don't necessarily refer to themselves as that, right? Like,
no, but that's what they do, right?
Yeah,
they're still clergy members, but the clergy members declare the supernal language in order.
Proclaimer, that's a good one.
Oh yeah, proclaimer is good.
They would call themselves.
Also goes with a very theistic theme. To
it does.
Oh, Ellie, you're taking Panda's job. Panda, she's taking your job. She's taking your job.
Your
turn. What happened?
I'm fine with that. What do you do for a living? I make terrible puns. You get paid for that? No, it feeds me in another way.
No, like but it takes life from others and gives it to me.
Yeah, it's What We Do in the Shadows, the vampire guy who drains people's life energy by boring them to tears, basically. Yeah. I love that guy.
Uh-oh.
You have to say something nice about yourself.
Nerd.
Who, Panda? Oh,
no, you do.
Fuck.
Pick on Kiken there.
Nerd is a loving term.
Nerd.
Dude, I don't know. I wasn't ready for this. Something nice about myself. It's a lot harder when you're on the spot, too.
Yeah.
Because I'm just trying not to say the same fucking thing I said last time.
Right.
I am a very honest person. And I take that pretty seriously. Being genuine is you could call it a core virtue of mine. And it's not to say I've never lied before. That'd be ridiculous. But I mean, within like realistic expectations, I try to be really, really honest and genuine. For one, it's just way less exhausting to live that way. And for two, it is just one of those things I really respect in other people. So I try to embody that. And I think that's positive, so that's why I say that. And now we move on, because I don't have to listen to you, because I don't have to listen to everybody else say nice stuff.
Yep.
Because it wasn't that one.
I'm inclined to agree with you that honesty is the best policy. So,
Yeah, it just is.
that it's a positive thing. So, to be honest.
And you kind of you embody a lot of the things you put in the world, I believe. So the more honesty that you project, the more you internalize, right? So it helps me also like be honest with myself about shit, which is I also find important. So anyway, thank you, Snake. Make a list of things you like about yourself. This way you have a list at hand. And don't try to get extra value out of the channel points. If I do that, anyway, I don't know. No, I refuse.
If I have to make a list of things I like about
hour.
myself, I'll also have to make a list of things I don't like about myself. And one of those is going to take a lot longer than the other.
He says, I am
Yeah, I didn't do homework when I was in school either, Ellie, so...
Snake, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. See, I embody this body, and I am this head. I don't know. But I'm trying to think of a thing where I'm just a brain piloting a meat suit.
Oh.
I mean,
Yeah,
you're
well,
piloting a meat suit.
they made sure to give your pilot an extra large cockpit.
Yeah. It's full of junk. Much like my actual mech suit would be full of. Bro, why do you have
I've
Coke
seen
cans
the inside of
everywhere?
your truck. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had space.
Yeah. Look, it's impromptu chat.
I guess I could close that image now. What were we talking about? Chaos.
We were
Souls.
naming what
Naming.
clergy people do with the Soprano language.
So the act of something.
Yeah.
Because an invoker invokes primal forces. So yeah. Which is funny because invoking is also a kind of speech term.
Yeah.
So they proclaim primal forces. Oh Jesus, Ellie. So Panda, we have to say nice stuff about you. Probably did it because we were just talking shit about you.
I was just stating a fact that Panda has a very large head. That is in no way talking shit. I am just stating facts.
Hey, that you could say that I'm unique in having a very large head. Huge dome of you, but yes. Praise your God. Well, I mean, pun master. I don't know. Dave's uncomfortable smile.
I will say, Jesus Christ, Dave, looks like your camera froze. I know it did, but you're just being completely still.
Yeah. Well, I'm leaning on an ice pack, so I don't have much room to move.
Panda
That's why I
is
haven't moved that much.
a very fun person to be around.
Screen.
Like, obviously he has bad days and stuff, just like everybody else. But generally speaking, like, Panda's around, especially if you're having an off day or a bad day or whatever. Panda's the person who will, they don't try to force you back into a good mood. He'll be there. We'll tell you jokes. We'll watch videos with you or whatever's got to go on. Just very dependable in the ability to like put his own stuff aside to like be there for people, and that's kind of a rare thing.
Snake, don't be stealing what I was going to say. I was going to say Pan has a wonderful sense of humor and can always find a way to make people laugh around. Like, it's enjoyable. You're a fun person to be around, and your sense of humor is a large part of that. Mm-hmm. Even if you do make self-deprecating jokes a lot, the rest of it's also hilarious. So,
the hardest part of these is to not just insert more self-depreciating humor.
Yeah, I know.
In the midst of all of it.
Yes.
But it's a good practice. Yeah, because chat doesn't have any rules. It's fucking Wild West out there in chat. They ain't got rules other than not to say racial slurs or be dickheads.
Yeah.
To a degree that we find excessive, which nobody's found that line yet. So, You know,
I mean, except JB getting banned multiple times for saying normal things.
I mean that was Panda being a dick.
Yeah, that's just Panda being a dick. That's what happens when you give somebody unlimited power.
Yeah.
Unlimited
Oh, you know the one thing that's
power.
not allowed in chat? Bots.
Bats.
Yeah, fucking genocide those things.
Bots.
Until they take over, then they can do whatever they want.
Yeah. I, for one, welcome our new robot powers.
Yes, thank you. Hold on, I was putting something nice about me in the chat.
Free to play game.
Yes, I think the best thing about Panda is that he leads the team in damage in the premier free-to-play game Mobile Suit Gundam Battle Operation 2.
You know, I was
Almost
playing
got
that a bit last week because they did the new whatever things, yeah. And I was also having that where I was leading my team in damage every single time, and I was like, I haven't played this game in like 6 months. How am I better than you guys? What is
There's a
wrong?
whole new wave of people on the subreddit for it. This is brief derail because it came out on Steam finally. And everybody's like, I don't understand why. Like, basically, like, oh yeah, I expected to like pilot a Zaku for a while, and my first pull, I got the new gun. It's like, yeah, because they're trying to get you hype. Okay, they're throwing like the game's been out for 3 or 4 years now. So.
And the last free pull they had was all suits. It was like a 10 drop of nothing but suits. They're guaranteed to get at least one like 3-star suit.
They're now running into that thing where they have such a library of characters, suits, that it's like, oh yeah, to get into it now and only have what the game originally started with, you're gonna be suffering hard. That's where games like War Thunder and stuff like that, they're like, oh no, it's going to be that way forever. Basically, you can pay money for these premium things.
We could also.
I like Proclaiming.
Yeah, Proclaiming is cool. I was gonna say we could also use like Express if we wanted. Now I'm looking up things for to give voice because I was doing speaking, but now I'm just looking up to give voice because I was thinking about that.
But to tell y'all, sorry, because I'm talking about my favorite.
We just can't say Proclaimers because that's a band.
How did I even word this? Let me look. Reclaiming is a little different. How did I word this? Everyone has to say something nice about the person you choose. God, I was vague. I'm a Magic player and a fucking DM, and I left it that goddamn open.
Yep.
So yeah, technically, you may name a watcher. Now, I will say, we have no control over whether or not they actually do the thing or like participate, right? Like, but I guess if you do the mass version, then we'll say nice things about them if we know them.
No.
So it's kind of at your own risk. Obviously, if you redeem a positivity and they're like, I ain't doing it, I can't make them, you know.
What are you, like freaking Punish Snake over here? Come on. Venom Snake?
But I think we'll use Proclaiming as our placeholder for now.
I like it
because I like it. I like how it sounds. Is achieved
to
by
proclaim words in the supernal language is how you cast their ability. I like it. You know?
Yeah.
To proclaim.
By how's it with a supernal word and syllables.
Whoops, wrong thing. There we go.
This also converts humors, but on a larger and more potent scale than invoking. So yeah, with the example I gave earlier of people that were like, oh, I can say this word, and they do, and they just blew the fuck up, or turn into salt, or, I don't know, became a whirling tornado of blood and bones. Horrific things, right?
Bonado.
You can see, like, obviously there's power in proclaiming, but there's lots of danger if you overdo it. Just thinking of gift giving. Lala says, just thinking of gift giving and tributes would be part of religion as well as speech. Yeah. We're really gonna have to hammer out the specifics of it once we dive into that, because it's still gonna fall under. I shouldn't move this. It's still gonna follow the rules as far as like. Why is this blank? What the fuck, roll 20?
Damn you, roll 20.
Nope. I'm gonna save this. Oh, that's I know what happened. I had the wrong thing up. Can I open? Is it already open? It is already open. Anyway, it's still gonna follow the rules of how of the magic skills. So even proclaiming is still gonna do things like shaping, biomancy, infusion, manifestation, psychomancy, casting, mitigation.
Yeah.
Still gonna do those things, but the scope and scale are different. Let's see. They're all being nice to Snake now.
Yep. Ellie, I read that in Megatron's voice, but not like actual Megatron, like collab Megatron.
Go back to these.
Are you enjoying your pornography and your toast?
I can't believe it's not butter. I would say go watch that, but it's also not. It's for adults. I'm not.
Yeah. Freaking Scott, not yesterday. Whatever the last session was talking about power thirst, and it was just like. It was just me and him were like the only people who fucking
dude,
knew what it was.
I feel that all the time. Anytime it gets brought up, there's like one or two other people in any room you're in who have heard that, and you guys sound like crazy people.
Yeah,
doing bits from it, and everybody else is staring at you like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
I don't even remember what. Because Snake was there. I don't remember what it was, but he made a power thirst reference, and I caught it. So we did like a few back and forth, and it sounded like fucking crazy people. He was just like, yeah, he's like, I watched it not too long ago. He's like, it's like some of it is does not age well. Yeah. And I was like, ah, shit, now I'm gonna have to go watch it.
Just I think it's Power Hunters 3, where the guy's just just like twitching.
Yeah, I think 3 is where it was like less. It was getting less funny, even at the time. Like 1 and 2 were the gold ones.
I always remember that.
All the knockoffs.
The parody, Halo Thirst.
Yeah.
Gruntberry.
Just by the fact that he posted it in all caps, I can tell Ellie gets
it. Yeah. Ellie was around in that age of the internet.
Yeah. Snake didn't get it, which is fine. Snake the youngin'.
No, I'm joking. Back in Mayday, we didn't have the YouTubes. We found things on E-Bomb's World or Albino Black Sheep.
And Newgrounds.
Yeah, was that an unlock for you?
Yeah, Albino Black Sheep. Yeah,
Albino Black Sheep. Yeah.
Those were the days I didn't have a fucking computer or even like regular access to one.
It only gets worse.
Snake, I got bad news for you, buddy. You got a lot more than 5 years. Yeah, that back pain. It's not gonna. It's not great. Now you know it to be true. But anyway, clergy does the thing. We now have proclaiming as a label, which is great. What else do we need to answer about them? Modern clergy would. So it kind of ties into, of course, the mission of the church, which is to basically to recreate the Avir, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether that be by doing what they don't talk about, which is getting rid of things that try to emulate the power of the gods, outside of the way that they do it, invoking, or through by continuing to emulate them and being able to get people that are actually capable of speaking full supernal words the way the Avir could do. The Avir were not gods, so they couldn't just rattle off whole things and just alter the landscape and change the entire world, but they had a vastly expanded capacity to do so. Whereas, this is just a first draft kind of example, if you have like one of the most powerful proclaimers that like anyone might even know of, probably can't get an entire supernal word out. They can get most of it, and the effects are fucking nuts, right?
Teeth start falling out, you're bleeding out of your nose and your eyes.
Like if any regular person tried to do it.
Yeah.
Like this would be a person who could do that maybe once in a day or in a week and be like, okay, that's it for me.
One of my favorite things relating to that was actually somebody who did a thing where they spoke like an arcane infernal word and this other thing, and it was that they did it and it exited their body with such force that it really like knocked some of their teeth loose. And I always thought that was such an interesting concept, that like the power formed inside them, and before it could get all the way out of them, it started expressing its power, and so it just was like it didn't exit their mouth all the way, and it's just like, so like some of their teeth came with it. And it's just like it's so
absolutely
gross, and it's so like evocative, because like we are so, that's why you have like the teeth dreams and stuff, like they're stress dreams that people have a lot. It's things that deal with our teeth are so close to like, and you can feel it when you talk about it. You can just feel it, and so it's so good at evoking proper imagery.
See, Christmas much better than rewatching the Insane Ultimate Stick Figure movie. Yeah, that was crazy. So they are Inquisitors on crack with extra magic. Snake's asking about clergy. I don't know. It's like the power scale is weird here. Like it's a little harder to compare it to a like D20 system, but if we were going to, I would say like a full supernal word, one of them I would say is probably in the realm of a 9th level spell. Right? Like a full-on all the way out. Big power. So yeah, like your strongest proclaimers are gonna maybe be able to get one of those out over a period of time. Like that's not a thing you can just do and be like, cool, I'll do it again tomorrow after I've had a good nap. Like, no. That's gonna be crazy. Speaking of Inquisitors, though, like, what was it? What was the class that I said I thought of like Paladin Cowboys? Was that the Pilgrims? Yeah, that's gonna be dope. But yeah, magic if it gets cast. I imagine it visually or cinematically as like if somebody starts to proclaim, like they become the target. Like on whatever battlefield it is, if someone is beginning to proclaim some shit, everyone's shooting at that motherfucker. Because if they get that off, fights may be over, right? Or at least somebody got ended. You don't know how far they're going to get into that word. But it's not just like an easy, quick thing. It's a whole deal. Anyway, I feel like we've I've overtalked that point now. But yeah, so the church's purpose is to bring back the Avir. So what they are doing in the modern day is not only, of course, still trying to aid their fellow man, so to speak. Like they are fighting the stuff that comes out of the rifts and trying to protect Riftreat, because that is ultimately why they do what they do. But it is also in the effort that Proclaimers get stronger. They experience hardship. They find ways to unlock whatever it is inside of themselves to speak more of these words. Because that's what they have to do, and it's not a thing that they can achieve. That they can achieve just by sitting on the couch reading books, right?
Oh my god, you look like you're about to pop, Panda.
I don't know what the fuck you watch, but he's losing it.
No. Oh my god, I can't tell you on.
Oh, that's fine.
Tell us after.
No, I messaged the Average Bear like 3 or 4 days ago. Said, what was that super cringe thing that I did? And then you said the silent, like I was super quiet. And then you said the silence is deafening, and either him or I could remember it. And he just reminded me what it is.
Oh, yeah. Tell us after stream.
I'm intrigued.
Join our Patreon to find out what it was now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll reveal that secret to Patreon.
Reveal it in the hangout.
Gosh,
Yeah,
in the hangout.
yeah. If you're in the monthly hangout, you'll get to hear about it.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, but Twitch POS may not be able to handle it. They don't know what it is. So
that's a dangerous thing you're talking about opening
right.
on live air here.
Yeah, because outside of these screens, we're also real people. So, not everything we say is like cool.
Speak for yourselves. I'm Crispy's imaginary friend.
I might tell you later, Snake. Maybe I'll have to get Panda's permission since it's his story.
Yeah,
but
it's really simple, but
it's fine.
Yeah, but yeah.
Cool. Modern day clergy. Yeah, they're trying to get strong because they want to be able to speak big word and eventually close rift and protect. What's that word? What's the fucking Japanese word?
For what now?
Molly, you're a weeb. What's the fucking Japanese word that is protect? What is it? It's used like all the fucking time in anime.
That's a bio.
No.
Oh, you're a weeb. I mean,
No. The other one. For fuck's sake, I don't know. I'll have to look it up later. It's not important right now. Anyway, that's the clergy. Dave, I'm having trouble believing you haven't had to pee yet. So if you need to pee,
I haven't.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
He really is sick.
He
must be dying.
I am.
He's extruding fluids via osmosis. I don't know. Like
He's becoming a snail.
Yeah, that's
condensation.
it's not actually an allergic reaction. I am just slowly transforming into a gastropod.
He's rolled too many ones.
Is not ooh. Jesus, Ellie. Soldiers.
Maiwa Shinde?
No. God damn it. Nobody's. Hold on. What's the fucking. Shit.
I googled to protect, and it was also difficult.
Yeah, no, it's a different stupid thing.
Hold on, let me go watch anime.
Mamoru. That's the defend,
go.
protect, but it also is like to keep promise and that kind of shit. Yeah, Mamoru. Which is
Oh god, now I want to make a. I have no artistic ability.
I don't know when
But
you
I
put
wanna
that in the
make-
chat, Molly, but I also looked it up. So yes, that's the word I was looking for.
I so badly want to make a comic of the joke of like fans calling VTubers like, "Oh, mommy," and stuff like that. Just Mamoru, doing the same joke.
Oh Lord.
Just yeah. It's stupid.
I don't have any notes on soldiers.
Soldiers go bang.
They do go bang. Heaviest association with the council. Okay, the origins of this class, not necessarily of any soldier, right? But I mean that would be their origin. It would make sense that the origin is in, your.
They were
your
people
infantry.
drawn to be soldiers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, it's crazy.
Right. Now the difference between someone being the actual soldier class versus just man with gun who can shoot. I mean, God. Obviously, there's more that goes into military training than that, but the difference between your average soldier and someone who is the soldier class is likely the ability to use humors. Not necessarily in the same way an invoker does. Even though, like, the way that we wanted it to do it is, like, you can invoke as a non-invoker, you just won't have, like, class abilities propping that up so you can, like, do extra shit with it, right?
Yeah.
And it's probably going to be a lot more dangerous. Yeah, Snake, that's because the humors we're talking about, there's 2 U's in it.
Yeah. We spelled it like British people spell it.
Yeah. I'm talking about a chemical bullshit from forever ago. But, and we added a 5th one because we're fancy. So yeah, the origins of the soldier class. I haven't really thought about this one too much, to be totally honest with you. I would imagine it would correspond fairly heavily with the origins of the council, right?
Yeah.
Where, I mean, because they were, so the council origin being they want to unite Riftreach. That's their mission statement, because there is still kind of a bit of a rift between, a schism between the church and the college, even though they're all one nation. The council kind of wants them to all share knowledge and be like one civilization, rather than like all like hoarding their own thing to amass power, even though they're also doing that. But they didn't start out that way. They started out like, hey, those monsters, guys, can we hate them instead of each other, guys? And they were like, yeah, sure, but we're not going to teach you how to invoke because you're going to tell the church. And the church is like, yeah, well, you don't get to learn how to proclaim because fuck you. And the council is like, yeah, but if you teach us, then we can protect ourselves too, and that'd be great, right? And they're like, nah. So, anyway, council's real good with guns, soldiers real good with guns and other weapons, but these would be typically your melee and non-supernal / primal forces specialists. And the like humor use and that kind of stuff would probably have come about around the inception of the council, because that's when their numbers first kind of started growing. So they were getting people from, maybe they weren't high up in the college or high up in the church, but they were getting people who were loosely associated with those organizations who believed in their cause more. So they were getting bit of this information and bits of knowledge and training on what the humors can do and like how to use them in ways that don't involve maybe blowing off your hand trying to throw a fireball.
Yes, lawless weapons can be infused. Mostly, one of that was something we were thinking of doing specifically with ammunition types as well. Is that you can fuse humor into ammunition.
Yes, which is probably going to be something the council kind of specializes in, is non-invocation / proclamation humor use. Ways to infuse the powers into either firearms or melee weapons and that kind of stuff.
They're going to be the people who, in a lot of ways, like utilize and develops technology that allows people who are not invokers or proclaiming or good at proclaiming to utilize humors in some way.
Exactly. Concede this. No.
Like I think one of the things when I pitched this originally, what we were talking about, like technology level, is like we have trains, but instead of being powered by coal, these trains are powered by humor. Or like lights, like electric lights, they're actually run off of like a supply of things like that instead of like a steam engine or a coal-powered engine doing this. And then like you could literally like infuse bullets with humors, so fire them to have different effects, kind of like how you could have like an acid arrow or a flaming arrow. But in this case, it's a round out of a rifle.
Good night, Ellie.
Good night.
I said mine in chat. No,
let's see. Can I ask again, if someone was crazy enough, can you carve the words into your own bones for strength and the such to grant humors to the body? Like supernal? Oh God. Okay. If someone was crazy enough, they could probably do that. I just don't foresee that going well. If someone was to carve supernal words, honestly, like on your bones, that's like a lot of problems. Anywhere on yourself, though, it's just like that's just going to cause issues. I don't see there being a normal way that a person could do that without immediately suffering and probably dying very quickly. Right.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, you could try, but the survival rate for that would probably be incredibly low. Mind-boggling low.
And the other thing is they don't grant humors. Humors come from living creatures. Like supernal language can utilize them. They utilize them as fuel, essentially. But it won't create them out of nothing. That's something only the gods themselves can do. Like, maybe if people got powerful enough, figured out enough of like how to string enough of them together without combusting or absolutely nuking their own civilization, you could probably do it to generate humors. But it would essentially be like asking in the real world, like, you know, can we just create free energy out of nothing? Can I just energy? No calories involved, nothing's consumed, no fuel, just boom, there it is. I mean, it doesn't seem possible based on what we know about physics and thermodynamics, but this is magic we're talking about. That would just be very strong magic. Let's see. Snakes got it, so it's a maybe. You know what? Yeah, let's rock with that for now. Honestly, it's possible. It is also very likely that person bursts into flames immediately. Lawless says with the alchemy / humors based on medieval metaphysics or Eastern medicine. This would be the medieval metaphysics.
Yeah.
Because we just know more about those, unfortunately. Now, down the line, of course, like, especially if this like takes off and I actually get enough free time to do more research for other inspirations, I'll absolutely incorporate more Eastern medicine. Most of the stuff I know about the East is more history, especially war history, so I don't know.
Well, and Ayurvedic medicine, which utilizes those in a lot of ways, they use the chakras more than they use the humors in like Ayurvedic medicine, which
is also true.
Medicine,
which would be really cool, and yeah, I'd be super interested to incorporate chakras and that kind of stuff into it as well. Because it's
Vata, Pitta. Shoot, I know these. Vata, Pitta,
Sacral.
I don't remember. There's the three main ones they have. It's Vata, Pitta, and another one. And it's fire,
you want the
water,
overarching ones? I don't know this.
I'm trying to remember. I'll just do Vata. Pitta.
So if you
Kapha, Vata, Pitta, Kapha. That's what they
Kapha.
are. Vata, Pitta, Kapha.
So if you in a way use the word for absorption of humors to take from others to power the word written on in the person, could you possibly power the words through sacrificing everyone else around you? But yeah, you can use other people's humors to fuel magic. The problem with supernal language is not necessarily just that you can't fuel it, that it would drain you. It's that the expression of that power would destroy you. You wouldn't get even part of the way through it before you're just ripped apart by the expression of the power in general. It's like, you go get a bunch of batteries and like plug it into a nuclear warhead. You're still holding a nuke. Like, it going off is still going to fuck you. Part of the way that clergy members do this is the word over time through like meditation and reflection and soul shit, without getting into an hour-long explanation, because the souls are actually from the beyond. It's the only reason people can do this stuff. The word actually becomes a part of them. So that's how they're actually able to express the power without destroying themselves. And it does more so over the time. The more that they can practice this, the more that they can utilize that power and understand it more. Good night, Giselle. So powering it actually is not a huge issue. It's surviving. It's even being able to be a decent enough conduit for that power, for it to do what you want it to do and to survive its effects. Interesting. So the only way would be for someone to survive would be to strengthen the body beyond normal levels, so in a sense turning into a less than human creature. Yeah, essentially. Like, it's probably... I don't even know how it would be possible for your body to just be strong enough. It would be probably a combination of being non-human, so that you've become some other physical creature entirely, and also being a proper conduit for that supernal word, so that it doesn't just blow you the fuck up when you say it or put it on your body. That kind of thing. It's really the expression of the power that's the hard part. Well, first learning it. You can't just look at it and speak it. That in and of itself takes study. So mixture of invoker and clergy at the same time. Maybe. And I mean, who's to say that won't be some kind of like villain or creature or some shit in the future that is doing that kind of thing. Or legitimately just like, fucking suicide bombing shit by like training people or turning people into something that can express this power. They don't survive it. They can express it. Which one boom. That'd be fucking scary. But you can't do that with undead, because you need a soul. Undead do not have souls. That's like the whole thing, is that they have no drive. Which I was talking to Dave about earlier. Speaking of which, your soul rating in this game, because it's mind, body, soul, or I guess body, mind, soul. Your soul rating represents the strength of your soul's connection from the creation to the beyond, because this is the part I thought of later, Dave, that I didn't get to talk to you about. I'm thinking that souls exist in both places simultaneously. There's one reflection of it in the beyond, one reflection of it in the creation, and your soul rating is the strength of that connection. And using drive pulls from the beyond to creation. It strains that tether, strains that connection, basically. So once you've run out, connection severed.
Nice.
Yeah. So anyway, all that being said, the only reason that people can invoke or proclaim is because they have a soul and they have a connection to the beyond. It's the only reason they can do it. So undead can't do it. Unless, of course, the undead is possessed by Ethro, which can happen because that is a cosmic force, and that motherfucker can do a lot of shit. Snake says, I want you to know, Kiken, how badly I want to play the system, and it's all your fault. Good. Then you will be happy to play test it once we get to that point.
Faux show.
Oof. But yeah, the thing is, I also want to play it. I'm sure Dave wants to play it. Panda will want to play it once we've got it together and can explain it to him. But
I learned.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and I don't blame you. But yeah, like we fucking want to play it, or at least have people play it. It's just we got to get it there.
Both. Yeah.
Which we're working on, as you can see. We're making a little bit of progress.
Oh yeah.
Right. So back to soldiers. Their origin, we already discovered, came from pretty much like around the founding of the council. Disparate knowledge being collected, they applied it to what they could. It's all about that resourcefulness and being like, look, we know how humors work. Don't know enough about invoking to make it effective, but we did figure out enough to be able to, hook it up to this saber, and if we fucking hit
they know
this
enough
dose
to be
of choleric,
dangerous.
Now it's on fire. That's dope.
They know enough to be dangerous. So.
Yeah. So yeah, soldiers are going to be the non-magical version of the others. So doing cool shit with not only having a higher degree of skill with their physical weapons, but some other little special tricks and stuff they can do. Plus one of the subclasses is the brute, which would be like applying the humors to themselves to become fucking Hulk smash, right?
Yeah. I always love that. I don't know why. There's something about that like style of class in games, and I'm always just like, yeah, dude, friggin' give me the baseball on steroids. Let's go.
Right. which I am thinking once we do rename the soldier classes, we could actually pretty easily make it that like that those subclasses are in-world names for that like for a classification of soldier, basically. Yeah. So just because that's I don't know, it could be neat. So they wouldn't necessarily be called brute, but they'd be called something that's like akin to that. So if someone says that they're part of that unit or that whatever, like people are like, oh shit, okay, I know what that means.
You're on the brute squad. You are the brute squad. Anyways,
yeah,
freaking
exactly. Like, oh shit, so you're those fucking crazy guys that get all hopped up on humors and like get shot a whole lot and don't feel it. They're like, oh, we still feel it. Oh, you just don't care? Yeah, we care. It pisses us off. Yeah. So we go kill whatever's shooting at us. Oh, and you're still here. Yeah.
The best way to get not shot is to kill whatever was shooting at you.
But yeah, still here. Stuff shooting at me is not here anymore. But, they were reclaimed. They were promoted to materials. Snake says he would be a soul body creature focusing on strengthening oneself to fundamentally change his physical expression closer to matching his soul's expression. Yikes. That's a thing. The Brutalist Squad. Berserker types, yes, exactly. Which I think would be fun. Let's see. Practice. I don't think we have to, name what they're doing, right?
No.
It'd be whatever.
They're infusing.
Crafting.
That's what they're doing, pretty much, yeah. Whatever. We know what it is. They're also busy soldiering.
Yeah. And that's one of the things with the council. Their grounds are in the court prefecture, which is next to a region called Garmanas, or the Vanishing Hills, which is a really fucked up, unstable area that allows them to monopolize the use of saltpeter and the creation of gunpowder. So while Rift Reach people know how to make guns, right? That's not a secret. Maybe the other region's productions aren't as high as that in the court prefecture, but it's a little harder to produce the ammo. They gotta go somewhere to get it. So that's kind of where they make their money. But also with the infusion of weapons and that kind of stuff. But they need a lot of bodies because Garmanos is a very treacherous place. So they gotta have a lot of undead to use as expendable resources to go out there and get shit. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
That's political things, and Ellie, I don't think is here to enjoy that. She'll have to wait for the video.
Yep.
Cool. That's the Soldier.
Yeah.
Who's next? Next is the Agent.
Yeah.
I actually kind of get these guys mixed up a little bit. Where is... Because I usually know them by looking at their subclasses. Agent has Sleuth, Explorer, and Assassin. These are kind of our rogue equivalent.
Yeah, our roguish
Yeah.
guys.
No, and... Oop. Oh yeah, that was the other thing. Didn't we have a fucking thing about the different classes having a bit of a tie to one of the spaces in the cosmos?
I don't remember figuring out.
Because they all have like an overdrive thing.
I thought we
Let me see if
did,
I
but
can
I
find
don't
that.
remember them. I'll be real. I was pretty sure, other than that, the clergy are tied to the beyond itself.
Yeah. I think agents are the one that tap into the unknown.
Yeah, which makes sense to me.
Oh god, I have to find that now. That's gonna bug me. But yeah, I think agents are the ones who are close to the unknown. I'm gonna look in. Is it in more world stuff? I've got to move this shit. into more relevant documents. Revamp stuff.
Because if I remember, it was
Ring.
Invokers were the second ring, the Beyond was clergy,
I found
Unknown was agents, yeah. Creation was soldiers, and then the first ring was the Wanderers. But that's just off the top of my head. if I
Oh
remember.
yeah, we so in the thingy we only recorded the overdrive effect. So okay, yeah.
The second ring in Chaos
Those were
by the way,
correct. Those were
Lawless,
correct.
is the Eldritch ring, which is the one that's got all the stuff that your brain just can't handle, like
Mhm.
Cthulhu-esque Eldritch horror in a way, but it's like knowledge and power and things that would break your brain from knowing them.
Yeah. The brief description, this ring is also called the Eldritch Ring. This ring is filled with the unknowable and that which the mortal mind and soul cannot contain. The knowledge, power, and concepts contained here will break a mortal to their core. Stuff that basically we can't even, like, conceptualize. Let's see. Okay, what was I looking at? I think it was in revamp stuff, and I just was looking at it. Yeah. But I think you were right on those. Invoker, Exorcist, Soldiers, Creation. Agent is tied to the unknown.
Yeah.
So these are the ones we've got to talk about the least. So we're kind of spitballing here. So Agent first. And these are also the ones that are not specifically associated with one of the ruling organizations.
So, Wallace, the Unknown is, I'll read the short description for you, but then we can elaborate more. It's the greatest fear in all of creation and the God Killer, the place of the forgotten or the undiscovered by any capable mind. It is sleep eternal and more. That which crosses fully into the unknown can never return. So it's less eldritch horrors and more nothing.
Yeah.
Like, kind of, in a way.
It's
It is
like-
emptiness at its core.
the sheer concept of nothingness, essentially. In theory, all things that don't exist would in theory exist within the unknown, except that nothing exists there. It is a bit of a contradiction in that.
Yeah.
But yes, oblivion, nothingness, the void, if you will. Space is scary.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is the unknown, and we're going to kind of spitball a little bit here for the agent, because the agent and the wanderer are the other two classes, and those ones we haven't really gotten into as much. But except that the agents are the ones that tap into the unknown, which I think is fucking cool, because it allows them to do things such as be forgotten by specific people or entities, or to cloak their existence in this layer of just unknowing, which I know sounds really weird. I imagine mechanically this is some kind of check that can be made versus someone else, and if you succeed or they fail, they just cannot, they can't see you. They can't know you're there. You just do not exist in their reality to them. Things like that. Or, you know, weird shit like you, maybe not even that extreme. Instead, maybe it's like they would normally recognize you and you can cause them to forget that they know you. Forget your name, or to see you as someone else. Just weird shit like that.
Yeah.
Because this is me generating an idea, so I don't have all this pre-planned. We were just talking about how souls exist in the beyond, imagining that an agent's soul is much closer to the unknown. And while that gives them these kind of odd abilities they can tap into, where they can just edge it ever so closely to that, therein lies the danger, right?
You dig too deep, you just poof, and there's no you left. Yeah.
So yeah, these are our stealths and our espionage people and our infiltrators. But like, yeah, that's gonna be one of those things that's gonna be kind of tough to balance mechanically, but it's gonna be really fucking cool, right?
Oh yeah,
because you could probably do that shit to other, like if you, let's say you're an assassin or whatever, like an agent, and you're just like you kill someone or whatever, right? They don't have a will to resist you now. Maybe you fucking disappear them, or they look very different for a certain amount of time, or just people forget that they were in this room for the next few hours.
It digs into, like, if we're looking at like Pathfinder and D&D stuff, it digs into like enchanting in a way that you can mess with people's concept of what is real, like the spell memory lapse, which is great, one of my favorite spells of all time. You just make somebody forget like the last round.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, but in a more like absolute term. It's not simply that you're just like, oh, you're gonna forget what happened for the last 30 seconds. It's very much like, you know, I wasn't here. Like you don't remember that I existed or whatever. I'm now a new person to you all of a sudden, and things like that. So again, it's clouding people's perceptions, but it's not using like magic in a sense to cloud their perceptions like a spell. It is literally filtering power from nothing to make things not be there.
Yeah. Scott, excuse me. So yeah, agents are not heavily associated with it, so not specifically associated with ruling org.
I would imagine agents work for anybody and everybody because they're useful and they kind of just go where the work is a lot of times.
Yes.
Obviously there's the ability to have agents who are part of one or part of another and are very linked in with that. But as a whole, agents are a group go where the money is.
Exactly. We pointed out a few times. you can expect that each ruling organization has members of any of these classes under their payroll, with their allegiance, all that kind of stuff. They also have many that aren't. So yeah, you can have agents that are specifically associated with the college, or specifically associated with the council or church, or ones who are just like, dude, I have the skills, like, whoever's going to pay me the most, right? Or whoever's got what I want.
Yep.
Whoever's ransoming my family. Whatever's going on. Like, so you can also probably assume that, like, if you fuck over one of these organizations, and they want you gone, but they don't want that out in the open, these are probably the types of people who are coming after you. Right? And their origins. That's going to be something that I gotta think about that, really. Because I don't know if that should be a thing that is almost sorcerous, in that, like, you're kind of born with it or you're not, or if this is a thing that can be achieved. Like, I imagine we can always rule case by case that weird shit can happen, right? Like, maybe an agent could be a failed clergy member or something. They fucked up trying to bond with one of these words, and it skewed the reflection of their soul closer to the unknown. Maybe they can't proclaim anymore, but they've got these other weird powers now. Or did some weird, I don't know, they did some fucked up shit with trying to invoke something stronger than what they were supposed to, and they very briefly passed partially into the unknown. Maybe both aspects of their soul are a bit closer to it than they should be. And while they can't risk that again, or fuck, maybe they do, because you can continue to do that. They also now have weird unknown shit going on with them. So yeah, I think those powers will be fun to make once we get to it. But
oh yeah, I think that's a cool place to, like, explore.
But as far as, like, the true origins of that ability, I don't know where that would have come from. We could say it goes all the way back to maybe, I don't know. My head is going to, like, the original schism, where people were trying to figure out what to do with, I don't know if we have a name for the Rosetta Stone thing that has a supernal language on it.
I don't think we came up with a name. I think we just kept calling it the Rosetta Stone.
Yeah, right? Like some kind of monolith thing. Let's see, possession. I mean, yeah, it could be. I could imagine it being through some kind of possession. Lawless was here for the lore stream where we talked a little bit about possession. Because we're making a villain.
Nice.
I could imagine it being something like that. Now, granted, obviously, like, that kind of thing I think is probably closer to the first Ring of Chaos. But yeah, bordering the unknown would make sense for, like, those kind of spirits and things that linger.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could see that kind of being a thing.
This jazz is killing it, by the way.
Dude, right? They're fucking going off. A Night in Tunisia.
I'm just over here, like, bebopping.
But yeah, for their origin, I imagine maybe going back to, like, the original schism between, like, when they were trying to figure out what to do with the stone, and people were, like, trying to speak the supernal language and shit.
Mm-hmm.
I could see maybe the first agents cropping up there.
Yeah.
Is failed attempt, you know? Or even, I don't know. Shit, I mean, I can come up with an actual factual lore reason, but I can imagine that origin is probably not particularly well known. Because they're not really an organization, right?
Right. They are a group of individuals who all have a very similar ability, and they're not necessarily related to each other in any real way, shape, or form.
Yeah. We could maybe make something similar to like a guild or some kind of organization or whatever that tends to recruit these people and then sell the services.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that acts as kind of an independent body. I'd be totally cool with that because that would make sense to exist, right?
Yeah.
People know this ability exists or whatever, right? So naturally they're going to try to be like, look, let's try to get a lot of these, like, these people are well sought after. Let's try to, like, pull some of them together and see what we can all accomplish together. And because it also gives us a reason to create, you know, one of those powerful lore embedded NPCs who's like the strongest agent ever, so no one knows who the fuck they are, but they still exist. Like,
They exist in this weird, like, quasi-reality state.
Right? It's like people have met them, have absolutely met them, don't remember their name, don't remember their face, but like, no, I definitely met them. They're they fit in the bag.
Yeah, I keep thinking of Mashani and stuff like that as well.
Yeah. If you haven't watched any of our Into the Storm, that reference doesn't make sense, but there's a concept, the Hollow Archive in Hyeth in that game is very similar energy, the very, very same concept as the Unknown, because it's a concept I've always really enjoyed playing with, and I've just never, like, solidified it into too many things, so. Anyway, but, yeah. Unknown and Hollow Archive, very close. My computer's not supposed to do that.
Is that you? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I was like...
It's not supposed to do that. I told it not to alert me to things. Anyway, so yeah, origins unknown. Right?
Yeah.
The first agents likely appeared as a result of the original attempts to proclaim before it had a label. Cool. Yeah, there's a lot of cool flavor there, like, especially if we come up with some kind of organization or something for them, but like, that's a lot of interesting interactions they can have with the world in a way of, like, I don't know, man, just if they fail, they can literally disappear and be forgotten. Like, I don't know, there's some interesting concepts to play with that class.
It is, for sure.
I don't know if we need to label what they do. We could, because before we had a concept called fading, which was like as people got lost drive and got closer to being undead, they'd be faded.
Yeah.
We could repurpose that for what they do because it seems pretty fitting.
Yeah.
Their abilities are associated with the unknown and are often referred to as fading. Or the gift of the fade, as one may call it. Which, for anyone who knows any kind of ghetto lingo, that sounds pretty fucking funny. The gift of the fade sounds dope.
It does.
Just fucking sleeping everybody. Don't fuck with Timothy, man. That motherfucker got to get to the fade. He touch you out. That's it. It's a wrap.
I love it.
This motherfucker's Alex Pereira over here or some shit. Alex Pereira's got the gift of the fade. He gets people, they don't know what the fuck happened. And if you're not an MMA fan, then that's also going to make no sense.
Yeah.
But,
that's okay.
I'm more of an Izzy fan, but Alex Pereira is pretty dope. Looking forward to his fight with Jan Blachowicz. He's training with Sean Strickland for that fight. Yeah, riddle me that, Dave. I don't get it. I don't
get it either, man.
He made Sean Strickland do the fucking wacky waving inflatable arm tube man dance on his like. Why you do what? What did that guy show you that made you think I should practice with him for this fucking big light heavyweight man? Anyway, regardless, the Morai Fate Sealers. Morai. Why is that familiar? Dave,
I don't know.
Why is that familiar?
It sounds very familiar to me too, but I do not know.
In Greek religion and mythology, the Morai, often known in English as the Fate.
Oh, that's why.
We were just talking about a little bit to do with that.
A little
bit. Soul of the Night. Thank you for following. Soul of the Night 1. Thank you for following.
Yeah, thanks for following.
Cool. So the Fates, the Morai. Interesting. Yeah. I actually talked about something close to them the other day. Which I'll probably go over in my next lore stream, because I did a lot of lore stuff like I talked about earlier. We wouldn't, but I was gonna say that's a power we don't want to necessarily give to PCs, but I do remember our next class, the Wanderer, does deal with chaos, including the first ring, the Dream Ring, which also is associated with prophecy.
Yeah.
So those would be closer to something to do with fate than, say, our dear agents.
Yeah.
Our agents are, fate might elude them because they barely exist. Whereas the Wanderers...
Yeah.
Wanderers are their own thing. Now that is an interesting class to deal with. Also not specifically associated with any particular ruling body.
Yep.
And I think Agents and Wanderers were both meant to be kind of roguey. Yeah. Right? So like Agents subclasses were like Sleuth, Explorer, Assassin, right?
Yes.
Whereas our Wanderers are Smuggler, Vagabond, Scoundrel. They're probably more roguey than the Agent, right?
I think our Wanderer in a lot of ways was also like if you took a Bard and a Rogue and kind of stuck them together, right?
Yeah.
And
I was thinking
the Agent was like
fit both of those.
Yeah.
Whereas
the Agent
like
was
Sleuth, Explorer, Assassin. Sleuth sounds very skill monkey rogue / bard kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, our Wanderers are meant to be connected with chaos. And there's 2 rings of that. Obviously, the first ring, dangerous, dreams, nightmares, prophecy, imagination. That's a big well to tap into. The second ring, way more fucking dangerous, because you can be dragging stuff through that, like, you really shouldn't. Now, I don't remember what our conversation was on how that power can manifest, other than they can get glimpses of shit that most can't. They can actually receive prophetic or prescient visions and that kind of stuff, right? Like, they can actually look past, like, they can look further than many others can, which is not a thing you can normally do.
Yeah.
Even with invoking or proclaiming, none of those really deal with time and, like, otherworldly stuff like that. That would be something unique to the Wanderer. And potential.
I think one of the things we also talked about with the Wanderer was like the ability to kind of read or sense other people's dreams and desires as well, like going into that same level of where, because that's kind of the stuff that the first ring does, right?
Yeah.
So they were able to kind of like also get better like vibe or clue or whatever. They were able to read that in others well because they're so tapped into their own sense of the dream.
Yeah. Ooh. See, this is another one of those. It's like, is this a thing achievable by people who are after this ability? Is it a thing you have to be born with? Does it just like pop into your head?
Yeah.
Their origin of imagining something. I need to move this sheet so that I can see chat. Wallace says prophecy usually indicates choice. True. Dreams represent free will, since your wishes are your own. Mm-hmm.
Well, prophecy usually indicating choice is an interesting concept because it depends on how you approach fate, like how you philosophically approach fate. Because some people feel that there is no choice and everything we do is ultimately predestined, right? Mm-hmm. And other people obviously believe that we do have choices and we do make meaningful choices in our lives. And if you believe in predestination, then prophecy is just a foretelling of something that will come to pass based off of the actions you will inevitably take. Whereas if you do not believe in predestination, it is all about giving you a potential future that will come about based off of your own real meaningful choices.
Yeah. Which I imagine is not a question we have to answer, right? Because that is going to also be down to the interpretation of the character or the player when they receive visions and things like that, or like these are prophetic things you've seen. Is it a potential future, or is it something that will happen because you know about it based on how you will behave? And do you bring it to pass?
Yeah, it was a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way, right?
Exactly.
It only happens because you know it's going to happen.
You still make a decision based on received omen. Exactly. Now, so yeah, it's like the easy answer is always going to be this is a possible future, right? Because you never can predict what players are going to do and that kind of stuff, right?
Yep.
So, so that's the easy answer, right? And that's also a fair interpretation.
It was described an interesting way that, by the way, that prophecy and whatever was described in a way that I heard once was, so let's say you're trying to cross a river. Mm-hmm. All right. You can see the destination on the other side of the river. You can see it over there.
Yeah.
But how you get there is entirely up to how you figure out how to cross this river. You know what the destination is. It's over there. But how you get there may affect how you reach the destination and what the destination looks like when you get there. If you take a boat and you go across quickly, easy. If you try and swim and you get swept downriver, your destination is going to be off and it's going to take you longer and you're going to have to loop around to get to the true destination. Or what if your boat sinks? What if you're whatever? And there's so many like variables that you can't assess or control in the middle that it's this never-ending web of possibilities to all just get to that one place. And when you get there, things may be totally different because of the length of time it took you to get there.
Right. Exactly. And like, which the concept is really cool because it's like, how do I put it? There's a few ways we can utilize this. Like, are these prophecies somewhat controlled? Like, does the user have the steering wheel at any point on, like, are they able to point this and go like, okay, I want to try to pull together a vision of this event. You know, I want to see what will happen if we do nothing or if we do this thing, right? Do they have that level of control, or is it out of their hands? As game designers, we want to put as much as we can in the player's hands, which means that ultimately we definitely want them to have some control over that kind of ability, right? And I do have to continue to think that way even when I'm making thematic stuff. It doesn't mean we can't do other shit where it's like, okay, maybe we have the minor and major prophecies, right? Maybe the minor ones are things you direct, and you've got some way to kind of touch and assess or direct. Whereas the major ones, if you receive a major prophecy, you can be reasonably confident that no one who is within range, let's say, to affect it, also received that prophecy. You got it because it's going to happen because you can't affect it. But you do know it's there. You can choose how you react to it or whatever, right? Spread the information. It's like, look, tomorrow this tower is going to explode or whatever, right? Like, not what I'm pointing to, like in this region.
Yeah.
The news isn't going to get there fast enough. We all know that, so we need to be ready for what happens. And it's a thing people aren't going to like, right? Or will try to prevent and ultimately cause. But it's like shit that you can't do anything about.
Yep.
Which, yeah, we can do. But either way, the purpose of a wanderer, of course, is... we don't have to look at the purpose. Sorry, I need to think thematically still. Their origin is something that I was actually considering, where... Because I want all of these to have kind of... have some place in, like, the history, lore kind of shit.
Yeah. Of course.
Or at least reasonably so. And I'm thinking maybe the Wanderers were people... The original Wanderers, they were probably called something else then, doesn't matter right now. But the original ones would have maybe been people that were chosen or in the running to later become a Veer. To become champions, whatever. Like, maybe that was like a thing where there were always like a group of people who had the potential to do so, and eventually one is elected and exalted to that form or whatever, right?
Right.
And these were like all the potentials. So let's say this is a completely nonsense figure. I'm not thinking super deep into it, but let's say you have a pool of 50 potentials, right? For becoming an Avir. You know, one of them will actually do it. Only one out of this 50. But then out of that other 49, maybe like, let's say, generally speaking, whenever that selection is made, whatever block of being abilities the potentials had go away. Like they pretty much get siphoned into the chosen. Ugh. I think there's a fucking skunk nearby or some shit.
I do smell something weird in the garage too.
Great.
So.
Well, hopefully nothing's gonna explode. Anyway, so let's say like normally the other 49 hopefuls, their whatever blossoming powers they have gets siphoned into the chosen, and that one becomes the Avir, the others go off and live their lives.
Right.
But like maybe not even out of the 49. Maybe out of a group of 98. You might have 2 or 3 of them that retained some of these powers. Not necessarily the ability to proclaim and use the supernal language, but the different voices and visions and things that the Avir would receive.
Yeah.
The Avir I'm leaving kind of nebulous. You can kind of just assume they had all the powers. Like, that's really it. Like, they were basically demigods.
Yeah.
They could proclaim. They didn't need to invoke, right, at all. But they could do things close enough to it. They have that level of control. They couldn't do it endlessly, but they would also they could maybe kind of touch the unknown and bamf around the place and be forgotten and be remembered and disappear and whatever, but could also receive guidance and visions from chaos as well to know what to do, to know where rifts were going to open, all that kind of shit. These were the fucking bamfs, badass motherfuckers.
Yes.
Because they were legitimately infused with godly power to be like, look, close these rifts. We can't go do it. You do it. Go do it. Because they're eating all the people, and we need the people to know we exist so that we continue to exist.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. Lala says these two clashes should be the result of cosmic debris. I mean, you really think about it. Yes. Like, the fucking stone with supernal language on it is kind of cosmic debris.
Yeah, right.
The supernal language itself is cosmic debris. Maybe not necessarily like physical like shards of something from the cosmos, but yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking for the Wanderers. Is like the original ones were just these potential Avir that never quite got there. And maybe those abilities actually could pass on. And I'm okay. And to be clear, I am okay with certain class abilities and shit being things you inherit, right? Like a sorcerer's powers, right? And the main reason I'm okay with that being the case is because players are going to be able to make you're making your character. If you want them to have those abilities, cool. They just do.
Yeah, easy. It's so easy. I mean, that's why sorcerers work, right?
Exactly. It's not like you have to roll a die to see like, okay, well, let's see if you have an awakening. Nah, it's just like, okay, I want to be a wanderer, and so I want to be like the first in like 3 generations of my family that this stuff has woken up in, so like nobody knows how to deal with it. Like, fuck yeah, dude, that sounds dope.
Like, talking about that for some reason just reminded me about randomly generated psychic powers in old editions of 40k and how I miss that, but also hate that.
Right?
It's so stupid. It's so stupid.
Yeah, even like old editions of D&D, you had to like roll.
Yeah, randomly generated powers are so
you
obnoxious.
had to like kind of roll to see if you got. Yeah, it's weird.
But it's also it also
it's kind of
adds
fun.
this. Yes, that's what I'm saying. It adds a weird layer of fun to things sometimes. So.
Origins. Let me actually type this out before I forget that I need to save this document. Origins are believed to be that of the original, that of potential Avir that did not lose their blossoming powers of divination and foresight when an Avir was actually chosen. These powers can pass through descendants. Oh, save. Okay. Let me slide that over. All peoples were nomadic at some point. And I know that's a really general way to say that, but specifically in Shard, because of the origins of where like mortals even came from, which was through the original rift that Shard formed through, all peoples were nomadic for a time. It took a while before something like Rift Reach actually formed, which was really just a lot of different people kind of in the same area for safety, and some ideals aligned, and eventually walls were built, and so on and so forth, right? But like, there are people that still exist out in like the what I would call in Hyath the unclaimed lands. There are people that still like scattered even further. Rift Reach is just one large establishment that is trying to grow and also stave off the advent of the rifts. So these are Aborigines. I mean, that's one parallel to draw, but they all did have different origins. Because we have 5 heritage as well, each one kind of tied to one of the humors. Except I'll probably cover it in either our next one of these or likely a lore stream before then. But the different heritages actually came they arrived in Shard under different circumstances, because the full origin of Shard is like, it wasn't just a world the gods created, it kind of formed by accident. That's why all the rifts show up, because it's not completely stable. Other worlds and races and creatures and shit that was passing into the unknown after being destroyed or otherwise forgotten or abandoned, it's eventually formed Shard. And so all of the people on Shard are offshoots from these places. Tice the Betrayer, welcome. First time chatting. If there is nomadic, does that mean there is nosodic and noglotic? I don't know what those words mean. I'm gonna look them up.
My pun sense is tingling. Yep. Matic, okay. Gladic, Sadic.
I see. You bastard.
That's glad. Yep.
You bastard. You fucking got me. Oh, that's the closest I've ever done to a Conor McGregor impersonation. I'm real bad at it.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Panda sensed a pun and came to life.
Yeah.
Matic, no static, neglatic. You son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. That's pretty good, though, actually. Can't be too mad at that.
Yeah, if Panda had said this, he'd have been booted off the Zoom call.
Yeah.
I'm
already thinking of how to work this. It's like, oh, yeah, I used to be Noglatic, and then they, said I had to live in this area, so it was Nogsatic.
That's... I don't know, Tice, I don't know how long you have been in the chat lurking, or how many puns have went by that made you tempted to finally chat, but that's the one that got you. Well, you're welcome to be here. We're glad to have you. Fucking hell. So anyway, yes, all peoples are nomadic at some point, and yeah, Wanderer as a class name is obviously still a placeholder. These will eventually get finalized names. Oh, they're a dad, I see. Well, I'm sorry. Dave is also a dad.
Yep.
Poor bastard.
I feel like I don't make as many dad jokes as I should, being a dad. But I just make it up for grunting when I stand.
Oh boy.
Which I don't actually do that often, but that is like the dad thing, is you make noises when you do normal things. But...
Listen, if you want... Dave Hyperfase here really wants someone else to talk about Bluey with, so if you could just go ahead and join the Discord.
Let's do it. I love that show. It's so good. And my kid loves it, which is what really matters.
But yeah, Wanderer, placeholder. And that is all of our classes. Whew. I don't know what that did. That accomplished something. Oh, Jesus. Alright, I'll read this one out. Tice the Betrayer says, They told me a vasectomy would stop me from having kids. Got back home and they were still there.
That's so good.
I can't be mad at it. It's fucking good. I'm sure that was somewhere and I just didn't see it before, but god damn it, that's a good one.
That's
a good one.
So good.
That's a good one. We got 3 minutes left on the stream. Let's figure out what we're gonna deal with next time. We got all these things we got all these classes defined, not their subclasses, but we got these at least embedded into the lore a bit, which is good. Like, especially if I can keep up doing some lore streams occasionally, I would like to try to focus these making TTRPG streams on thematics to mechanics, right? Like trying to nail the mechanics down. Because also Muffin is your blue spirit animal, of course.
It's okay. I love socks. Which I just put in there. Socks.
Let's see.
Sorry.
I just stopped looking at the chat now.
Yeah, you gotta focus because we're trying to do the wrap up stuff.
We're almost wrapped. I would like for these in the future to focus more on getting thematical things turned into mechanical things, because I'm not going to usually do that on my own. Like, I'll usually run up to you randomly and go, I had a mechanic idea.
Yeah,
but
that definitely does happen.
Yeah, I don't usually like sit around generating them most of the time. This is usually what this time is for.
Yep, and we've said this
I will
many times,
do
and I'll
lore
say it
shit
again,
on my own.
is that we are working on a philosophy, a top-down design philosophy, where the mechanics come from the thematic elements of
Thank you for the follow.
Oh yeah, thank you. Appreciate the follow. But yeah, so we are designing our mechanics entirely around our theme and thematics for the most part. We are trying to make things do what they say on the tin, and to put it in that sense, is whatever it seems like it should do thematically, lore-wise, we want to make the mechanic fit that, and we want it obviously to be balanced and still fit in the game. That's where that tweaking comes in, but we're coming at this from top down. It does what it seems like it should.
Even more heart. Big subscribe. Hell yeah, man. Thank you.
Very kind of you, Lawless.
Appreciate you.
Lawless is a G with that.
Yes. But
now Tice doesn't have to watch ads.
We all
it says the
Discord link is invalid.
That's weird. Let me pull another Discord link here.
Yeah, make sure you set it to forever, because otherwise it expires after like a few hours.
Yeah. It's probably right.
See if there's a Discord Zelda, because I get tired of Link.
Panda does not have
I saw him die in a little bit.
I have the link set to
His
expire
eyes
for
die
7
just a
days,
little.
by the way.
We're just using the same one.
I know. I just have the link sent to expire for 7 days.
So
I did not
the
use
one in events in the Discord should be a unexpiring link.
Yeah.
If you go
I
to
just
the
use
channel.
I just use the one from when the pull down when you use it. Is what I was
Yeah. If you copy that one out of the events, it'll be a forever link.
I just put it.
Or it should.
So try this one.
Okay. New link.
Yeah.
God, it's midnight and I really want to play Tears of the Kingdom some more, but I shouldn't. I really need to go to bed after this. There we go. More Discord link.
Yay.
Fuck yeah. Let's say hi.
All right. But so okay. So what are we working on next time then? Are we going to try and work?
I gotta
on...
make this. I gotta make this channel real quick.
Oh yeah. Are we going to try and work on?
There you go.
I'll just talk about the subclasses. Are we going to try and work on how to turn some of our lore stuff we have for our classes into mechanical usage? Are we going to work on, how we utilize heritages more mechanically speaking?
That's a good one. Because I did flesh out the heritages.
Yeah, I know you were working on that lore-wise. So I'm trying to work on things that you've been working on for sure.
Yeah, we could. Let's probably do that. I think we could go with the heritages. That's our races, basically, right? Because the next thing I intend to work on, we'll see if that happens. Because usually it's just like, I saw a thing and it reminded me of this deal I was gonna make, and then I just go do that, and it's like, hey, remember how you were supposed to work on the classes? Yeah. Oh fuck. So, the next thing I intended to make, see how good I am at derailing myself.
Yeah, right.
Was the
don't even need other people here to do that.
Ethnicities kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because there's only like the 3 that I remember that we're dealing with, which is there's only basically the ones that are kind of from like the centralized area of Riftreach, outskirts of Riftreach, and outside of Riftreach, right? It was Riga, Hollow. I don't remember the last one. Either way, but I'm going to work on those next, because now that I have the races done, I want to get that done so that we have some other things to do.
mean, that sounds good. So yeah, we'll set our goal mechanically to try and work more off of our whatever I just said. Oh my god, I'm tired. I don't know if
You're looking at the chat. Don't look at the chat. Don't look at the chat.
I'm trying
Don't look
not
at
to.
it.
But our humors work mechanically, whatever I'm trying to say, and then how those are going to interact, or how we use those, as well as interacting with our classes that we just kind of fleshed out about more. So
Good idea. Talking points. Stream 7. That is, we're going to go heritage and humor mechanics. I have a feeling that is immediately going to produce another dad joke from Tice. Oh! Skinitage and nailatage. Tice, you were doing dad jokes before you had kids, weren't you? This strikes me as not something that spontaneously burst forth from you the instant you had progeny.
Yeah.
Either way, maybe, yeah, we both know. I get you. Okay, I'll save that. Let's go to the exit screen, because it is past midnight. And I dropped my scissors.
So since we're on the exit screen, I guess that's my time to do the plugs for check us out on our social medias, which we have our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Of course, we also have a YouTube channel where replays of all of our Tuesday videos, whether it be our normal Pathfinder First Edition Into the Storm sessions or our Making TTRPG, they go up, and they usually go up on Mondays. So if you need refreshers, they're right before the next week. So you got it. We've also got Patreon now. All of this is unnatural_1s for any of those things. So whatever it is, it's YouTube/unnatural_1s. It's Patreon/unnatural_1s. Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. So go to those places, find those things. We're doing our first Patreon hangout in a week. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
17th?
It's the 17th. So 2 weeks.